2024. The year we ignited the final phase for an all-golden age. It all began as we rang in the new year, wrapping up and rounding out the previous 4 years. Then, in proof that we are back, came the historic announcement. The first graduates from the most important training program in our history. Organization Executive Course graduates. Flag Executive Briefing Course graduates. All of them infused with superpower. An all-new breed of executive, the likes of which this world has never seen. And all of them firing back to their orbs, launching us into the new year at maximum velocity. In evidence thereof came a parade of brand new ideal orgs. First, galloping to the Lone Star State, where we branded the first all Golden Age org in history. Next, traversing 1,000 miles due south, we arrived in Mexico City, consecrating the first all Golden Age ideal org in Latin American history. And finally, just 48 hours later, we swept into the city of Big Shoulders to unveil the Chicago landmark, the first all Golden Age ideal org in Midwest history. So it was we rocketed into an LH birthday celebration, befitting the full scope of his legacy. It commenced with a behind-the-scenes source presentation and never-before-heard LH lectures from the flagship Apollo, revealing his OT breakthroughs in administrative technology. Next, we delivered the culmination of 20,000 hours of research, a 100% on-source board. Done. Then, to bring it all to life, Golden Age hats for every post on that org board. Done. And all together, making for an unqualified Golden Age of administration. Done. While to cap it all, we presented LH the gift of expansion he most wished for, crowning the champions of this year's birthday game in the race for a cleared planet. But if it was already an unprecedented year, it was about to reach truly mythic proportions. For in the cultural capital of the world, we introduced a tour de force, an IAS-sponsored Hour of Victory in the City of Light, perfectly timed for the Olympic Games and prominently placed beside the National Stadium. It now stands as the ultimate statement of flourish and prosper. All of which propelled us with unstoppable force to this year's IAS Ruby anniversary. And in testament that we have never stood for dollars, defiant and resolute, came an epic 40-year retrospective recounting monumental battles against planetary suppression and crowning victories that redefine religious freedom for all time. Then, in tribute to those who embody the very essence of the IAS, we honored heroes of our crusade, presenting them with the IAS Freedom Medal. And finally, as a defining statement of what it means to say, we are the IAS, we premiered our message to the billions. Our voice, our movement, our church, So yes, that's why 2024 will forever be remembered as the year we ignited limitless horizons and infinite tomorrows. Welcome to Los Angeles, California, home to the Church of Scientology International, Celebrity Center International, the ideal Pacifica Bridge, and the greatest concentration of Scientologists on Earth. Join us now at the Shrine Auditorium, for this is the Scientology New Year's Celebration 2025!
Have you been to California? No, you're in California.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. And no, you don't have to check your calendar. Because let's face it, the new year doesn't begin when the clock strikes midnight. It begins when we say it begins. And it always begins tonight, right here and right now in Los Angeles. And however else the world out there regards the last 12 months, whether in terms of tumultuous times, trying times, running out of time, overdue time, a roller coaster of a time, a hell of a time, or just about time, well, we do it differently. In fact, we wouldn't give the time of day to find out what prevailing wisdom thinks about this year, because we know time is always on our side. If for no other reason than we postulate it, we control it, we regulate it, and we command it. And if you're still not sure why 2024 passed like a dream, well, all you have to do is calculate how we packed infinity into 12 calendar months, and so created a year like this. 2024, our launchpad to a new civilization and stepping stone to eternity. All begins with dissemination now approaching the speed of light. Our founder, our movement, our vision now seen more than ever. In fact, viewers tuning into our network arrive not every minute, nor every second, but every 300 milliseconds. That's 10 times the viewership at network launch. Although, when speaking time frames, this time last year, we premiered our epic response to a global call for help, and it just earned a Platinum Video Award for documentary excellence. But even that's just a fraction of what makes ours the most acclaimed religious network on earth. Human values, entertainment and culture, and social responsibility, all culminating in 150 broadcast awards in the name of global dissemination. Then, given what people see makes them want to do, this is what you call immediate direct response. Problems of work, fundamentals of thought, way to happiness, with online course completions now ticking in at one every 90 seconds. Whereupon those students enter a space-time continuum of golden age introductory routes, from book one and personal efficiency to success through communication and life improvement, all while atomic clocks synchronize to this, a new person now crossing our threshold every 60 seconds. All of which proves the speed of light is now attainable, with graduates doubling since this planet last spun about the sun. But assuming the only reason for time is to keep everything from happening at once, well, you've just entered our golden age of knowledge where, between basics, congresses, and advanced clinical courses, space just flattened relative to time all over this universe, as annual completions are now 20 times what they were at the dawn of our golden age. All then flows to our golden age of tech phase 2, where any Scientologist can become an expert Scientologist. Between student hat, pro TRs, metering, and academy, speed of training just hit the speed of light squared, with a course completion every 10 minutes, while on the processing side of the bridge, from purification and objectives to lower grades and on up the line, it's a new release or clear every 5 minutes. And so it goes through the rest of our space-time curvature. Solo auditors now highest in history, with solo auditing hours surpassing 1 million, also a record, and thereby propelling a whole track mega milestone with more than 10,000 onto or through new OT7, all of which transports us to heights not previously envisioned, where truth is now revealed to Scientologists across no less than 86 nations of Earth, which, numerically speaking, translates into new OT8 completions, doubling through the last 12 months. But for the geometric proof of our living bridge, you have to recalculate all equations in terms of ideal orgs, and most recently, our all golden age orgs rising in booming capitals, sprawling megacenters, heartland cities, and the cultural heartbeat of Earth. That's more than 300,000 square feet of new ideal orgs, although in the end, it's the global equation and total equation that tells us where we stand tonight. Namely and in full, our worldwide footprint has multiplied 64.5 times since the launch of Ideal, all in the name of a new civilization already on its way. And yes, that's why I say, welcome to the Scientology New Year's celebration 2025. For all that, however, not to mention all else you will see before this night is done, there is still one more requisite word on the last 12 months. And it follows from that unforgettable LRH statement in Clear to Eternity, wherein he writes, "It is a never-ending source of wonder just how high beings can soar with Scientology." In precisely those terms, 1 year ago tonight, having just emerged from a global engram, I gave you a gift, accompanied by a simple request that you not waste this brief breath in eternity. So, for the final opening word on 2025, here is your answer. Say no more.
At last year's New Year's event, Chairman of the Board RTC gave me a grade chart. It dawned on me the actuality of the golden age of Scientology that we have.
I was so excited, so I took the grade chart home and put it on my bookshelf so I can see it all the time.
I decided to make this year my biggest year of bridge progress.
It's been a whirlwind, but it's been the best adventure I could ever ask for.
It was the fire up for me to run as fast as I could towards eternity.
Every time I complete a service, I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. It can't possibly be better than this. And then I do the next action, and it actually is.
Every day I show up for course, I am so BGIs, I am so happy. There is no place else I'd rather be.
Each individual component of the training is so powerful in its own right, but then you put it together and it's so indescribably amazing.
I never had to go back because I didn't get the last step. I always got it. It was such a perfect gradient.
The simplest way to describe it is now I have more of an intimate connection with LRH after doing student half because I understand completely what he's saying to me.
First year has totally set me up for upward dog in a way that it's like I could just laser focus on this one being.
I can have someone sitting in front of me and I can ask them a question and see the read and I have certainty on what that read is.
It's like mathematics. U-meter, trim, gain, boom, calibrate, hand squeeze, breath, pow.
On the academy levels, I've rediscovered so much of my own knowingness about myself and other people. Being able to take somebody in session and let them go spiritually free is ridiculous.
When you see a PC change in front of your eyes, it is the most surreal, magical, out of body, out of earth experience.
And we would be walking to the examiner, and I needed to do an exam. I was so excited.
It's like being a Top Gun fighter pilot. I'm taking the enemy down, it's the reactive mind, it's going down, there's no questions, and there it's gone.
Auditing this golden age is like getting on a rocket and just flying. You blow so much charge in so little time. It's insane.
I went exterior right at the end of Book and Bottle, and that was like the most memorable thing that I had happened in my life.
I landed in present time with a thump.
They tried to shout in their person, I'm here, like that. It was, wow.
I definitely do feel the chains being broken free of me. Every grade I come out and I'm so keyed out.
Take one superhero that you know and multiply it by the number of lifetimes that I've experienced and pack it into one being. That's how I feel after doing grades.
This is the first part of the bridge. It's just like, this is the beginning. I want more.
And then looking at this giant mountain, you gotta figure out how to get to the top. And then I'm running net, it's just like all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's an elevator. Going through all the fun stuff that you go through and then and you bust through it and you come out on the other side, man, you feel good.
I felt like there was this massive weight just that went like that. And then I looked at the auto and I was like, where the heck have I been?
I had grown so big, I had popped out of the building and I just remember floating above and looking at myself going, yep, this is it. And I felt like for the first time I was really me.
Because I just attested to the state of clear, the state of clear. I'm clear, I'm clear.
Bam, 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 I'm clear.
I cleared myself.
I'm clear.
I attested to the state of clear.
And I no longer have my own reaction mind. It's the best feeling in the universe.
The roller coaster set me up so perfectly when I saw my FN for the first time. I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
As I ascended the OT bridge, the winds just doubled and tripled and 10x and 100x and 1000x.
OT2 was a welcome to the big leagues.
Confront.
Full track. The whole thing. Comfortably. So when you really try to wrap your wits around it, it's my book.
At the end of the day, I got on OT3, which just like opened up my universe and like, oh my gosh. And that was just, the course part.
Taking the wall of fire is like having a black and white TV your full life. And then realizing there were colors.
Every section on OT5 is just handling another major life event. Like, no big deal, it's just another day.
I realized at the end of OT5 that this is it. After net for OT, I'm free.
I did not feel like I could stand still. It's just like my body couldn't contain me anymore. Like, wow.
I can handle any problem that surfaces in my life simply because of solar launch.
It's like the cheat code in life
You know, if you ever play a video game and you can literally have a cheat code to the cheat code.
The OT version is gone, so when you want something, there's nothing stopping it.
And you will experience miracles every single day of your OT7 Odyssey life.
Having completed Neo T8, I feel like I am unshakable, stable, spiritual being.
My dynamics team feed, my time team feed, my future team feed.
So suddenly life became like a playground. So it's really unfathomable the heights that he can reach, that I have reached.
The application of the tech in this golden age is like a bunch of dominoes that just keep falling.
In the last few months, I finished Protears, Upper and Up, and metering, and I'm 13.
This year I went from grade 1 and I went to the end, all the way through OT3, did OT4.
And I'm now on OT7. So my bridge progress this year has been incredible.
My entire life's changed for the best possible way.
This is the time to be here.
The right position at the right time.
The best time ever.
Relative to everything that has ever existed in time and space as we know it.
The tech is what it is, it's perfection.
Like walking into a candy store for a spiritual being, a new world for me. What's a new me?
Totally blown out. Whoa. The bridge is there, and like Corey says, it's wide open. Let's go.
As is customary on this night, we shall take our time-honored tour of all sectors of LRH technical application that, one to the next, spell the aims of Scientology. First, the forward march of social betterment programs to imbue populations with technologies for morally decent, literate, and drug-free lives. Next, the headlong advance of LRH administrative technology for sane and prosperous workaday environments, and then the outward role of our missions and field groups planting signposts to the bridge in an ever-widening arc. And following that, our top field staff members who usher ever more across the threshold of our bridge. And given what defined this year, I will also show you a galaxy of ideal orgs, each a point of genesis for a Scientology universe. Well, in combination, tonight you will experience LRH tech reaching across every sector of society, delivering solutions that transcend borders, unite diverse peoples, and overcome any circumstance. So, sit back and witness as we journey across continents, through bustling capitals, remote villages, and every corner of the world, each step revealing LRH tech in action, breaking barriers, building futures, and shaping a better world for all. And it all begins with our frontline advance of LRH technologies for planetary salvage under the banner of the Association for Better Living and Education, otherwise known as ABLE, who guide a worldwide network applying LRH technology for stemming tides of immorality, illiteracy, and substance abuse. All opens at our International Way to Happiness Foundation. It's designed to impel a grassroots movement for moral resurgence and common decency through the 21 precepts. Accordingly, it stands as the flagship of a global network of chapters for proliferation through social circulatory systems, all while permeating the deeper bedrock with strategic distribution of booklets and films for broad-scale regeneration and rejuvenation. Then there's Applied Scholastics radiating out from our international campus at Spanish Lake. It's another global generation plant designed to train top educators as study tech specialists. They in turn pass that technology to teachers and students in every academic arena, thereby inspiring a renaissance of learning. Finally, there's Narcanon, where our flagship at Arrowhead stands as both a rehab facility and international training center. In this golden age of Narconon, it's flanked by a fleet of continental training centers extending through an ever-widening network of facilities across mainline usage zones. Well, altogether, in synchronized combination, that's how Abel inspires a revolution to remake this world as drug-free, crime-free, literate, and moral, and so paving the way for spiritual freedom. Tonight's opening presentation from the front lines of Abel epitomizes the very meaning of those words, paving the way for spiritual freedom. Why? Because we're addressing what Elrich describes as the single most destructive element present in our current culture, and if that weren't clear enough, consider this. Drugs prevent any case gain. But against that biochemical trap stands the Elrich technology to reverse the downward spiral of addiction, and with it the means to give the afflicted a new life. Even so, possessing the solution is only half the battle. The pressing question remains, how fast can we bring it to those who need it most? The drug problem isn't hard to find. You see it everywhere you look, which is why expansion isn't just important, it's essential. Not just to keep up with planetary decline, but to one day reverse it entirely. Such is the sum and substance of the golden age of Narconon and the strategy to establish training centers in every continental zone, and in this way, train the multitudes to open new Narconons anywhere and everywhere. All of which brings us to our newest continental Narconon, a model so extraordinary it sets the gold standard for all others. And so let's pick up from where we left off last year, nearly to the day, with what was only then a promise. South Africa. Over the past 2 decades, drug usage has skyrocketed, placing her among the top 10 abusers on earth. Worse still, the government pours money into so-called 21-day rehab programs, the limit imposed by what insurance will cover. But with such a revolving door approach, addicts often relapse within days of being discharged. This, however, is the new face of drug rehabilitation in the name of an all-ideal continent. It began with our ideal AOSH Africa, our ideal CLO Africa, and now our new ideal Narconon Africa. Located in the majestic shadow of the Mahaliasberg Mountains, it's a sprawling estate right out of a Wilbur Smith saga, a land of untamed beauty and boundless possibilities, not just 210 hectares of South African bush, but also a safari game reserve supporting a complete ecosystem of some 200 wildlife, a colony of giraffe, a herd of zebras, no less than 7 species of buck, and that's just the backdrop. Behold, the expansive main lodge, the array of student cottages, even wild game viewing towers. Altogether, more than 24 facilities, and all now manned by a complement of administrative and technical staff, 29 strong. All of which transports us to that sun-drenched summer afternoon on the 30th of December, when the dream of a continent came to be. Those stepping to the podium included a national leader of municipal health services. She hails Narconon as the beginning of a renaissance across South Africa. A bishop of the South African Christian Ministers' Council. He speaks of Narconon saving Africa's future generations. The founder of the South African Council for Graduates. He welcomes Narconon and proclaims LRH a true freedom fighter. The CEO of the South African Social Security Agency, and she calls on Narconon to save the lives of her own 2 sons. And finally, the Secretary General of the BRICS South Africa Alliance, and he heralds Narconon in the formation of a great civilization. Whereupon the ribbon cascades down in the name of that grand vision, because This is not just LRH drug rehabilitation in all its glory. This is the model Narconon Training Center for the mother continent. Incoming students soon descend from across Gauteng province, not to mention the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Perhaps it's no surprise that among the first across the threshold is the very same guest speaker who pledged to have Narconon salvage her sons. And indeed, before the end of day one, she's already taking full advantage of Narconon. And that's just the beginning. As for the facilities themselves, student accommodations range from shared cottages to a spacious VIP wing for the nation's artists and leaders of society. The picturesque dining veranda seats 40 and provides luminous views of the surrounding Highveld. The program delivery begins just down a tranquil path at the well-appointed withdrawal station, where students break habits running from crystal meth to niope, a deadly South African mix of heroin and rat poison. Next comes the New Life Detox, in a center that all on its own defines the golden age of rehabilitation. Naturally, all leads to the objectives, and where better to achieve the revelation of present time than in an utterly exteriorizing landscape, altogether making for more than 5,000 rehab hours. And finally, ensuring students never return to a life of substance abuse, there's the full battery of life skills courses, from isolating the factors that preceded usage to the step-by-step formulas to repair relationships with family, friends, and others they've affected. In full and overall, this is the first ever Golden Age drug rehab delivery on the continent of Africa. While among the first to graduate are the sons of that aforementioned dignitary, now standing before their fellow graduates to speak of building a new future, not just for themselves, but for the entire nation. And they mean it. Case in point, they're already out there spreading the word. By way of example, a Northwest Province secondary school where they are addressing more than 100 at-risk high schoolers. There's another lecture for students at Mount Sarah Primary School to stop usage before it starts, and yet another at Steve Biko Primary where hundreds more learn the effects of drugs. Next, they work the airwaves, beginning at Alex FM Radio. It's one of the oldest community stations in the province, broadcasting across drug-ridden northeast Joburg. But now listeners hear it loud and clear. There is hope and there is an answer. There's more of the same on the Voice of Vitz for Central Joburg, and again on Newtown Radio. And so it builds until this becomes Narconon's presence in South Africa, all over social media, all across national and regional press, with Narconon's message reaching 1.5 million people. And with the news spreading far and wide, dignitaries and luminaries are next touring Narconon facilities, eager to witness the source of these miracles firsthand, from religious councils and health officials to government departments and provincial legislatures, altogether more than 50 community and civic leaders witnessing South Africa's first real drug rehabilitation. And here's how South Africa is in turn honoring Narconon and the lives it's transforming. Narconon is epitomizing forward thinking. Narconon is saving lives from addiction. Narconon is a vital force in combating substance abuse. Narconon is reshaping the landscape of drug addiction, and Narconon is transformative in the field of drug rehabilitation. So yes, that's LRH drug rehabilitation for continental salvage on this New Year's Eve 2025. If that's the establishment of a technical delivery facility on a grand scale, one requisite to continental salvage, then this next is the one LRH defines as our last chance to broadly change the entire civilization in a single stroke. Or as he so passionately told us, I am trying to put a weapon in the hands of people. Today, one is born into a savage jungle. In his culture, they need such a weapon, LRH. To which he significantly adds, if such a weapon is so distributed, a new era will dawn. For this is the common sense guide to better living as presented through the 21 precepts of the way to happiness. And if you've already heard of that booklet, Reshaping Social Terrain across Asia, Africa, and South America, will I now give you the USA and the cultural crossroads of this nation, Miami, Florida. Behind the city's glittering facade, more than 200 gangs wage relentless turf wars, fueling a violent crime every 2 hours. At the epicenter is Liberty City, a 6 square mile neighborhood that once stood as a thriving community, but for decades, gun violence has torn it apart, leaving homicide rates 9 times the national average. Yet this is also the territory of Pastor Jeffrey Mack, a 40-year Baptist minister and president of Miami's Circle of Brotherhood. Formed by faith leaders who took responsibility into their own hands, this coalition stands united to restore their community and break the cycle of violence. Their motto says it all: Black men solving our own community problems. Today, the Circle of Brotherhood drives a series of programs through its community groups, each aimed at empowering lives and creating change. The genesis of tonight's story is 2019, marked by one too many candlelight vigils for mothers mourning children lost to violence. The Circle of Brotherhood resolved that more had to be done. That's when a Scientologist, former Miami police officer, and Circle member introduced the pastor to the way to happiness. Impacted by its 21 precepts, because they mirror the structure of the 10 Commandments, yet were non-biblical, Pastor Mack saw it as a basic moral code he could get others to follow without them feeling pressure to adopt any particular faith. In other words, here was the very need LRH recognized when he authored The Way to Happiness. Wasting no time, Pastor Mack briefs his leadership team to launch The Way to Happiness across every community program. Their resolve is unshakable, and here's how it plays out. Into the hot zones of Liberty City, where drive-by shootings wreak havoc. But now, the pastor links with the Peacemaker Initiative, trained in violence intervention. Witness their advance along 18th Avenue, where crime runs triple the city average. But armed with the precepts, the peacemakers canvass the area every other day for what they call preventative action to help residents make better decisions. There's more into Overtown, where crime strikes every 12 hours. The peacemakers arrive in the aftermath of shootings, armed with the way to happiness to diffuse tensions and end cycles of retaliation. Next, the pastor connects with the VIP Reentry Program, a lifeline for inmates preparing to return to society. On a 6-month track to release, they study the 21 precepts and realize it's never too late to start fresh. The precepts reach even deeper through UCAN, the United Community Addiction Network, a circle program tackling substance abuse and where booklets now penetrate Miami's epicenter of opioid addiction. Pastor Mack also partners with Center of Life Academy, catering to at-risk kids. Here, students once labeled aggressive and targeted for gang recruitment now ask for more lessons, and so detention turns to prevention, with parents also now on board. There's more with the Youth Success Team, mentoring foster children through the 21 precepts, and still more as the Circle of Brotherhood reaches every corner of the community, providing more than 22,000 booklets one-on-one. But where distribution sparks transformation is at the Circle of Brotherhood headquarters. It's where the Circle brings together residents from all walks of life for a weekly gathering and refueling akin to Sunday church. As Pastor Max says, if you follow the path of the way to happiness, it can change your life. At which point, the precepts become the catalyst for regeneration. And so the circle widens with the Sisterhood Wellness Circle, an affiliate program for women in the community. Here, weekly meetings focus on a new precept each week, and in their own words, we transform others who transform others. But where all Circle community programs come together is the Martin Luther King Parade, the oldest and largest in the nation. Distribution reaches massive proportions, and talk about a reason to celebrate. What historically ended in violence is now entirely peaceful. So no, it's no wonder the Circle is next fielding a request from the director of Miami-Dade Police. Recognizing their impact, he invites the Circle of Brotherhood to partner on a groundbreaking cadet training program, a program unique in the entire country. Future officers learn the street perspective from Circle members who know it best, and vice versa. Equipped with the 21 precepts, cadets gain a new understanding of what it means to protect and serve their community. The program is hailed all over Metro News for one simple fact: this training hits at the core of human relationships. Whereupon the city itself reaches a tipping point. Not only does the mayor proclaim the lowest homicide rate in recorded history, but violent crime has dropped a dramatic 26%, and as of now, Way to Happiness training is mandatory for every new and current Miami-Dade police officer, and yes, that's the way to happiness for a brotherhood of man for this New Year's celebration 2025. Our final story from the front lines of Able springs from the concept of language transporting knowledge from generation to generation. As Ella Race tells us, the basic reason behind languages is that man desires understanding. If he didn't desire to understand, he'd never go to all the trouble of making up communication systems as complex as language. But what happens when even mastering one's own native tongue is not enough to ensure survival? The Czech Republic. The fall of the Iron Curtain opened doors wide to an entirely new world of commerce, culture, and technology. But those doors slam shut if you can't communicate in English. It's the universal language of work and opportunity, and yet, with only 7% of Czechs ever achieving fluency, the country ranks near the bottom in English proficiency. But revolutionizing English language learning across the Czech Republic is Applied Scholastic's executive director, Eva Reharova. By the time she was 21, she could speak 5 languages. Upon graduating school, she discovered Scientology, and when she happened upon study tech, her purpose, to empower others through learning, was cemented. Whereafter she co-founded LIGHT, Life Improvement Through Education, to teach English as a second language across her country. The center is located in the capital of Prague. It all begins with what LIGHT terms as an introductory lesson, but it's really about enlightenment, bringing students to the awareness that learning English is possible. The keynote of teaching is study tech and gradients, breaking down the learning of English into its 4 essential parts. Writing, as students pen their first dozen words in English. Reading, as they follow along and connect words to their meanings. Listening through games like Simon Says, bringing those words to life. And speaking, repeating those words aloud to build confidence in their own voice. In just 90 minutes, they've learned the basics of English, and with it, the realization they can learn the language, so no surprise, 98% enroll on the spot. Whereupon the light lesson plan unfolds as follows. Each student starts with an immediate English proficiency test. From there, students are placed at the perfect gradient. Then, grouped by proficiency, students step into a 14-month journey to master the language. The program is based on an LRH discovery from the early 1970s that the technology of teaching languages had been entirely lost. The secret? You start with nouns, and only nouns. It goes without saying, study tech is fully in play, showing the mass of every noun taught. From there, it's straight to the basics, reciting the alphabet forwards and backwards until it becomes second nature. Likewise, in accordance with LRH Tech, verbs come next, focusing on everyday actions paired with live demonstrations that make words unforgettable. Soon enough, students are holding full conversations, driven by Light's motto for mastering English, speak, speak, speak. And month by month, progress truly is extraordinary, with Light students achieving English proficiency 5 times faster than the national average and culminating in an astonishing 90% job placement rate. With success like that, Eva and her team set their sights on a greater challenge, meeting the overwhelming demand for English across the length and breadth of the Czech Republic. Eva distills decades of experience into a refined curriculum, complete with exportable materials to bring Light's methods to teachers nationwide. An illustrated glossary of small common words with more than 300 definitions. There's more with 3 levels of lesson plans. Beginner, where students master 1,200 words of everyday English. Intermediate, for conversational fluency on day-to-day topics. And advanced, for fluent, nuanced communication and the ability to follow movies or TV shows effortlessly. Eva caps it off with a comprehensive teacher training manual and course, culminating in the ultimate Light Educator's Toolkit. Light's reputation precedes them, drawing teachers in droves eager to master its methods. Teacher training begins with communication drills to effectively deliver classroom instruction. But of course, study tech is the centerpiece of Light training, arming these teachers with the tools to tackle the 3 barriers to study, no matter the language. All concludes with classroom apprenticeship and teacher certification, expanding Light's faculty to over 400 educators. And so a national network emerges until this is Light today. A school 68 miles north in Liberec, it serves a largely industrial working class with students ranging from mothers to members of the local workforce, delivering nearly 200,000 hours of English learning. 150 miles southeast in Alamos, the agricultural heart of the region, where delivery surpasses 250,000 hours. And 50 miles to the south in Brno, the second largest city in the Czech Republic, delivering another 400,000 hours. There's more 90 miles to the north with another 260,000 hours. Still more 15 miles south in Pardubice, adding 400,000 hours to the total, and 130 miles west in the automotive hub of Pilsen, light drives home no less than 900,000 hours. Combine it all, and you're looking at a network of 7 English language schools leading a revolution in language learning with nearly 6 million hours of delivery and more than 50,000 light graduates achieving fluency in English, all of which builds to this moment. The nation's annual Super Brands Award ceremony, honoring the best of the best in the Czech Republic, with Light crowned as the leader among nearly 100 English language schools, and for a monumental 8 years in a row. And yes, that's LRH Study Tech translating barriers into breakthroughs across an entire nation on this New Year's celebration 2025. For all that, however, there is still another word to enable, and it follows from that momentous phrase, global presence. Because take the kind of stories you just saw in representation of on-the-ground action, multiply it out across the rest of this planet, and here's the worldwide tally. To begin, there's applied scholastics and a story of astonishing scope, with new schools, centers, and groups continuously arising across the realm of academia. More than 300 in all just this year, making for a network more than 3,000 strong, and that's how Applied Scholastics empowered more than 66 million students with tools for superlative learning. Our Narconon saga is just as pervasive. Look no further than LRH Drug Rehab driving a delivery system that generated 300,000 hours of life-salvaging help, all of which garnered a parade of recognitions from law enforcement officials to government leaders and legislators, and no wonder, because track the size and scope of Narconon across 5 continents, and you're looking at a rehab network 4 times anything on global treatment grids. Finally, there's the Way to Happiness, now inspiring a moral resurgence among populations speaking virtually every language on Earth, which, by a sweeping turn of the globe, places its precepts in play across 194 nations, where a new partnership was forged every 90 minutes, more than 7,000 through the past year, while altogether more than 140 million booklets are coursing to the ends of Earth. Combine it all, and that's able bringing LRH Solutions on behalf of almost 250 million people for this New Year's celebration 2025. For all that, however, there is still one more requisite word to appreciate the scope of Abel, and it bears upon that unforgettable LRH description of his work as representing not a revolt, but the hope that man can find himself, and so recover some of the sincerity, love, and kindness with which he was created. Well, as he provided technologies to do exactly that, the hope is now an actuality. And these are the people who make it so.
Picture this strong candle shining through this storm, and you've got this steady presence that goes out into the environment, right? It shines like this beacon. And so when we pass out the way to happiness, we see this shine brightening coming through, like reigniting the society.
And it's been translated into so many languages, which is so cool. It means that you can really go out there. The fact that you can give it out to someone in English, they say, oh, I want to have it in Afrikaans, say, I've got you, you know.
We brought the way to happiness to Nepal, and that calmed the area, and hundreds and thousands of kids received the way to happiness.
There used to be a lot of discrimination, even there was a bomb blast. But since I've been spreading the way to happiness, there is not a single incident.
It's got fundamentals. It's amazing. I love this book. And so you give it to others, and how can you not affect people's lives? And we do. There are prisons all over where there are actual inmates that are delivering the way to happiness seminar inside the prison.
So I had one inmate, he actually said that now, even though he's in that environment, he has a freedom from bondage of being in the jail because he got his self-respect back.
It's our conversations about forgiveness, you know, things that we had to forgive our parents for and understand the position they were in. And so I'm literally seeing grown men cry, discussing this.
They used to shoot at each other on the streets, but now here they are in the same organization, working together, trying to make a change in the community.
Those people's mind and face change in front of me. These booklets work like miracles. They are a miracle.
That's why I made the way to happiness and my work of the way to happiness my purpose in life.
Working at Applied Scholastics, my main job is to introduce individuals to L. Ron Hubbard and the study of technology. And that builds the bridge to society.
I've had so many students who would come and they're like, oh, I'm stupid, I just can't learn. And by the time I'm done with them, everything is easy. They start talking about wanting to play piano, or they want to be a zoologist.
And you get them to clear a word, you get them to do a demo, and then they get it. Poof! The brick wall is just blown to bits and pieces. You can never put it back together again. They get it for real, forever, right then and there.
She had like study difficulties and dyslexia and this and that. I can say that study tech saved her life. He went from failing to now every time he just gets 100%.
And that mom just looked at me, she said, you're a miracle maker. Obviously I smiled and I said, it's not me, it's study tech.
We have many success stories from such students that in 1 month they learned more than in 4 years in high school.
That's the reason why we become a teacher, is to help children, help students understand. And of course, study tech is the thing that unlocks that for any student.
I know that I'm launching them forward and launching them free into a very successful future.
I would describe Nakanan as a place of rebirth. It's a place where you find your new life, new growth, new values.
You can see the vitality return. You can see the energy. You can see the bright face. You can see vigor in the person. He's a little more shiny.
They do this objective process, and it basically just poof, takes them right out of the past, brings them into the present. They're actually, oh my God, that wall is actually there. That color is actually that color. And he's gaining 40 pounds. He's like, hey John. He was like super, you know, in ARC and just like excited to see me. And I was like, all right.
So he finally no longer felt a need or a desire to ever go to fentanyl again. And he just keeps sending people here weekly. Just go to Narcan, save your life, trust me, go to Narcan.
Their families, their friends, their work, their body, like everything has been wiped out by drugs. And, you know, to work with a team that can turn all of that around for a person is absolutely incredible.
Some are getting university top degree, they are gold medalists. Some are operating airlines. There are so many stories.
You see that you've saved a person's life. That feeling goes with you forever. And then when you do it 1,000, 2,000 times, you can't even imagine your appreciation for the LRH tech.
The whole able sector is what is going to change society altogether. This is like the foundation for a better planet.
You, me, us as a team, Applied Scholastics, we are the future.
We need to clean up the world, and we have the leading technology on how to do that at Narcan.
That's why, for me, it's an endless way through the way to happiness, because
never stops.
We change lives every day, and that's a huge purpose.
So I love to be part of this team, help it and expand it as much as I can.
Because this thing goes.
As one person does it, another person does it, another person does it.
Then it just kind of multiplies. It really is a drop of water and a big ripple effect.
Crime-free, drug-free, moral, and literate lives is the answer. It is the new civilization on its way.
If such is our help at ground level, the next question becomes, what else can be done for mankind? To which LRH answered in kind with his third dynamic administrative technology. Needless to say, admin technology precisely parallels auditing technology, just as the org board perfectly parallels the grade chart. Also, needless to say, is extended to the world at large through the World Institute of Scientology Enterprises, otherwise known as WISE. And this is how they get the world in session. WISE was charged by LRH to disseminate his tech for group prosperity and sanity. Its primary membership comprises professionals adopting admin technology to their own endeavors. But WISE further engages members as consultants capable of troubleshooting and expanding any venture, no matter the ambition, no matter the industry. Simultaneously, higher-level training is provided by a worldwide array of Hubbard Colleges of Administration who graduate students as official Hubbard administrative specialists. In combination, then, WISE employs LRH admin technology for sanity and prosperity on the third and fourth dynamics, which in turn impacts all other dynamics, and so fostering global survival. Our opening tale from this year's WISE storybook recalls a modern-day fable about a remote African village. For generations, a community thrived along the banks of a bountiful river amid fertile valleys. But one day, seemingly out of the blue, the villagers relocate to a nearby hilltop. And when asked why they moved, they simply state, not for the sunshine, nor for the stunning vistas, no, for something even more valuable. A 100 megabit connection to the digital world. Rwanda. From the devastation of a 20th century genocide, this nation emerged as a 21st century African leader in technology and innovation. But even as the country builds its digital future through a network of cell towers, it faces a critical shortage of trained personnel, leaving the industry in the hands of multinational giants, thus keeping Rwanda dependent on foreign players. But now enter communications technology mastermind and Rwanda's first WISE member, Venuste Twagiramungu. After earning his certification as a telecom engineer in the 1990s, he creates trust engineering solutions to help rebuild his nation. Struggling to staff his company, Venuste attends seminar after seminar until he finds the first ever WISE event in Rwanda. No sooner did he discover LRH Tech than he travels to HCA International in Los Angeles to train on the full LRH Admin Tech curriculum. Naturally, he recognizes the opportunity and steps onto the bridge at LA Org. Whereafter, Venuste returns home to Trust headquarters in the Rwandan capital of Kigali. Trust specializes in building telecommunication towers with a valuable final product of flawless, affordable connectivity for every Rwandan. Equipped with LRH admin tech, Venust sets out to organize and train his team, starting with the basics: an organizing board honed for peak performance, a 3-basket system for seamless communication relay, and statistics tracked through a digital information center and where employees monitor production company-wide. Building on the admin tech foundation, Venust drives efficiency by training his team, and all of it on a gradient. First, illustrated manuals so employees understand their various products, meaning the various types of towers Tress builds: the greenfield for open ground installation, the monopole for restricted footprint, the rooftop for urban settings, and the camouflage to blend with the environment. Every tower component is covered, from the detailed layers of a solar panel to the essential safety rigging for tower crews, and all brought together in comprehensive hats studied in the Tress Academy. Training, of course, employs study tech, including word clearing of all key nomenclature. But the hallmark of Tress training is their hands-on apprenticeship program, where trainees build real-world competence through direct production drills. And here's what they master. First, design and engineering for structural integrity, since most network failures stem from faulty infrastructure. Next, safety training, including harness demonstrations, rigging kit orientation, and perfecting the climb of 10-story towers. Then on-site immersion in cell tower systems, from fiber optic connections to the full network setup. Finally, they drill solar panel installation with panels precisely set to 16.9 degrees, the exact angle of the sun in Rwanda, and the clock's ticking. Installation must be completed in under 60 minutes for a pass. In full, you are witnessing the formation of a fully trained team of homegrown Rwandan telecom specialists. And with Tress rolling out to job sites all over this land of 1,000 hills, this is how connectivity is being brought to Rwanda. First, in those open greenfield sites miles from any infrastructure, Tress crews assemble lattice towers from the ground up. In this case, 1,600 linear feet of reinforced structure, rising 118 feet and locked in place with 1,700 anchors to withstand wind speeds up to 90 miles per hour. Once erected, it's wired with 1,900 feet of cable, equipped with 18 solar panels, and every other component for powering up. Whereupon, the tower is fitted for transmission, then plugged and primed to go on air, connecting Rwandans across some 70 square miles, and all with a safety record of 100%. That's the story of how Tress completes cell tower sites in 21 days, double the industry speed at half the cost. And with Venust establishing Tress as the Rwandan leader in telecom infrastructure, they literally dot the national landscape, expanding from 20 towers a year before joining WISE to more than 140 in the last year alone, and now bringing connection to every province of Rwanda. So yes, that's why Tress is hailed with national recognitions for outstanding contribution to the industry, and why headlines credit L. Ron Hubbard Administrative Technology as the source of their success, because that's how Venust drove expansion 7 times over as the fastest growing telecommunications company in Rwanda, and yes, that's WISE getting a nation into communication on this New Year's celebration 2025. If such is admin tech connecting the people over the airwaves, What about connecting them to the permanent building block of our civilization? It's a metal first forged nearly 4,000 years ago, one made legendary by Damascus for blades so sharp they could slice silk in midair. Centuries later, it fueled roaring furnaces of the industrial age and shaped the skylines of the modern era. Today, it forges tomorrow's world, bending civilizations into form. Such is the universe of steel. Argentina. It's the second largest country in South America, and at its heart lies the province of San Luis. This sprawling region, larger than Belgium, stands as a crossroads of opportunity linking 5 surrounding provinces. Yet despite its economic promise, San Luis remains largely untapped, a giant waiting to rise, with steel as the key to its reawakening. But fractured logistics and weak supply chains have left San Luis stranded on the sidelines of progress. Enter Alejandro Gomez, a logistics visionary who forges LRH admin tech into steel like an alchemist. He's the founder of Coraza Heroes, its name literally meaning iron armor, the steel that turned knights into legends. Looking to strengthen his business, Alejandro discovers WISE, and through it, Scientology, while today he is clear, else completion, as well as superpower. And this is Coraza today. Anchored in the provincial capital, Coraza's 86,000 square foot headquarters is a fortress of steel powered by LRH admin tech, a state-of-the-art distribution hub serving a singular purpose: to drive economic growth by fortifying the construction industry. By way of orientation, the steel supply chain flows like lifeblood through the veins of progress, mining raw ore, forging it into steel at the mills, with Coraza taking charge to distribute it and delivering it to the builders shaping our world. But when it comes to scale, Coraza delivers in large orders of magnitude. Factory trucks haul up to 28 tons per load. Hence, at any one time, stock inventories hold 500 tons of steel tubing, another 50 tons of fencing mesh, 90 tons of steel wire, 1,000 tons of roofing steel, and 50 tons of steel flooring, altogether more than 6,000 individual steel products, all to fuel construction projects across the region. And it all ties back to the LRH datum Alejandro lives by. To prosper, service must be as close to instant as possible. So, Coraza's computerized system monitors inventory in real time, keeping supplies at optimal levels and guaranteeing every client, from home builders to infrastructure giants, gets exactly what they need when they need it. And once again, if you want to know how Coraza runs like a machine, it's LRH admin tech basics, and org board defining functions, hats for technical know-how, and routing forms, over 70 in total, all of which makes for flow lines precisely tracking every new order. Given that speed of service is Coraza's hallmark, every delivery is guaranteed within 48 hours. So whether it's a single sheet or a full truckload, Coraza meets the deadline, powering the construction engine across the province. All of which is why Coraza is next headlining groundbreaking projects like this: a soccer stadium shaped by 100 tons of Coraza steel, nominated for Stadium of the Year and hailed as one of Argentina's most distinctive stadiums. But to extend Coraza's influence even further, Alejandro drives expansion beyond the capital city. 60 miles east to Via Mercedes, with a 21,000 square foot branch facility extending the Coraza supply line to the likes of regional housing projects. In this case, a government initiative providing affordable homes to more than 300 families. and another 110 miles northeast to Via Merlo with an 18,000 square foot hub strategically positioned along the provincial border and fueling industrial, residential, and tourist development for more than 24,000 projects. And so, across central Argentina, Caraza proves there is no limit to expansion, igniting a boom through vital infrastructure. Argentina's first renewable energy park, the towering Miranda Bridge, a regional performing arts center, a leading technical university, the largest hospital in the province, reaching into and supplying every sector of infrastructure and beyond, until Caraza has powered regional construction with over 180,000 tons of steel and now stands as the #1 distributor across San Luis province. With Caraza operations soaring to new heights, Alejandro sets out to reshape the industry itself. He unveils what is known as the ZAC, a trailblazing commercial activity zone built from the ground up adjacent to Caraza headquarters. This 20-acre facility brings together all major construction trades in a single location, making it the ultimate one-stop hub where builders, designers, and consumers bring their visions to life, combining more than a dozen industry partnerships. And with every element in place, Alejandro leads a grand opening ceremony. In appreciation of his service to the province, it's inaugurated by no less than the governor himself, at which point Caraza accomplishments are branded in history. 1.3 million projects spanning 3,000 miles and driving an 8-fold economic growth across San Luis province, because that's what happens when LRH Admintech engineers company expansion 35 times over. And yes, that's why he's forging a new frontier on this New Year's celebration 2025. Our final account from the world of WISE reminds us that LRH administrative fundamentals are exactly that. Fundamental to all operating principles in this universe and the immutable laws of life itself. LRH provided a philosophy of administration, and it addresses such matters as the anatomy of organizations and basic purposes of beings. Accordingly, these things are universal and inviolate. And when one commands the upper level tools of LRH Admintech, one can rescue any business or an entire nation. Such is the province of WISE Consultants and Hubbard Colleges of Administration, and here is the proof of what they can do. Taiwan. Unlike her fellow Asian tiger nations with sprawling conglomerates, Taiwan's strength lies in her small and medium enterprises, making up a formidable 98% of all companies. And while the dream of independence and entrepreneurship fuels the workforce, the reality of success is far from guaranteed. In fact, only 1 in 100 new ventures survives beyond their infancy. The success, as it happens, isn't left to chance. It's built on the solid foundation of unwavering principles. And turning aspirations into achievements are Yu Ming Lu and Sun Min Wong, co-founders of Taichung's Hubbard College of Administration. Situated in central Taiwan's thriving economic core, the college boasts a team with 25 years of admin-tech expertise, engineering prosperity across Taichung commerce. And this is their blueprint for success. HCA's clients include company owners and corporate executives spanning industries as diverse as industrial computer systems and interior design. Most begin by discovering admin basics through introductory seminars, in this case, the tone scale, to forecast employee behavior and productivity. From there, entrepreneurs and executives progress into the college academy, each with an HCA program tailored to the individual's needs. Courses include how to achieve effective learning, laying the groundwork by ensuring students master the art of learning itself. Basic organization, with fundamentals to structure any business to weather any storm. Executive basics, transforming superstition into strategic management. And communication, the backbone of all workplace relations. And that, in a Tai Chung minute, is how over 10,000 graduates are primed to navigate their future with unyielding confidence. But it's through on-site consultation that HCA Tai Chung directly shapes an entirely new climate of productivity and economic growth. And this is what it looks like. The dashing Sun Farm cultivates organic herbs and teas in perfect harmony with nature, but outdated business practices left them missing out on a fresh crop of customers, so HCA Tai Chung brews a solution. Surveys to uncover the tastes of a new generation of tea drinkers and a repackaging of product lines, whereafter earnings boil over, expanding fivefold. Then there's Ping 3D printer. Their technology can create virtually anything, but somehow not profits. That is, until an org board lays out every divisional duty, while checklists tighten up workflows. And layer by layer, Ping 3D hits all three dimensions: clients, output, and profits, tripling. KCK Rack specializes in industrial storage units, but company know-how is stored away in the heads of their execs. To resolve the bottleneck, HCA introduces comprehensive staff padding on policies and flow lines, at which point expansion doesn't just rise, it skyrockets 5 times over. Yi Dimension specializes in Chinese healing therapy, but their business structure is entirely out of alignment. So HCA initiates training and apprenticeships, opening up the flow lines of operations. And in just 3 months, Yi Dimension earnings multiply 20 times. Finally, there's Chen Chi Shallot. They craft premier seasonings and sauces, but their organizational recipe is missing all the key ingredients. So HCA implements bi-monthly seminars on LRH fundamentals and streamlined efficiency through the org series, whereupon Chen Chi earns the coveted International Superior Taste Award, all while company revenues simmer into a triple-digit surge. So yes, that's how HCA Tai Chung is turning the tide, driving LRH admin technology into over 1,000 enterprises, transforming a 1% survival rate into an astonishing 100% success rate. And if you're wondering why else HCA Tai Chung is synonymous with success, well, out of 1.5 million companies in Taiwan, HCA is now ranked among the top 100. And yes, that's why he's turning luck into certainty with LRH wisdom on this New Year's celebration 2025. Beyond the representative examples you've just seen, there yet remains the global spreadsheet from WISE. And bearing in mind application of LRH Admin Tech represents far more than mere better business practices, the cumulative sum unfolds as follows. WISE members earning industry awards wherever they ply their trade. Excellence in engineering, breakthroughs in agriculture, mastery in photography, trailblazing media and entertainment, and innovative healthcare, one after another in an unending cascade of success. And then history, the first ever King's Award for Enterprise from the King of England himself, and all of it crowned by a tripling of awards for WISE companies over the last calendar year. Beyond that, WISE members stamped their brand of expertise on every imaginable job description, better than 1,300 professions in all. Add to that everything WISE represents through engines of commerce and markets of trade, with LRH Admin Tech specialists and consultants at work across 37 nations, making for a new company now adopting LRH Admin Tech every 20 minutes, and so totaling 380,000 companies now employing the tools for third dynamic survival. And when you combine all uptrending graphs across global production grids, it's an exponential surge in prosperity, with more than 3 million professionals entering the world of LRH administrative technology, and all for this New Year's celebration 2025. Yet again, there's another vista from which to view the world of WISE, and it follows from myriad LRH descriptions of admin tech as magical. Org boards for investing power and velocity through any group activity, formulas adhering to the natural laws of life, and policy as predicated on limitless survival. It's all unadulterated magic. And these are the people who work it, much to the astonishment of everyone with whom they work.
If you look at most organizations, it's chaos. You know, one person's doing something, another person's doing the same thing, but not all of it. Whereas once you put in the LRH admin tech, it becomes melodic. You know, the org board, it just bam, bam, bam. And it's like a high performance car running on all cylinders.
Working with the techniques you get from WISE, number one, I would say you enjoy what you do. It becomes like playing, you are not working, you don't get tired.
After a while, it becomes so second nature. I even take the WISE technology and apply it to my life, at home, with the kids, with the wife.
Non-Scientologist employees use the LRH Admin Tech daily. They do their VPs, they do their stats, they are originating, let's add this to the hat pack, or can I get one of my juniors trained on this specific hat pack?
People going to the green folios, picking it up and say, I want to check this out, am I doing it right?
And then a couple of weeks later, I was looking for one of these staff members and I was like, where is he? And I was told by someone else, oh, it's Thursday too, he's going to finish his course.
And the certainty I see in the individual from that point onwards, you know that they've stabilized. There's like a new stable data to work from.
And you're seeing them applying that and having a lot of products. It's like they have a black cloud over their heads and then sunshine.
Now you've got a real producing productive area and they're all lined up in the same way, same direction, and their vectors are really, really going full blast.
I saw no fog anymore. I saw they understood their job. I saw people stay with me 20 years in the company.
So my life has improved despite the craziness, despite the dramas of the world, and all the other reasons when I shouldn't succeed, I have.
Well, I had a lot of debt, so I put all the LRH tech in, and I became top 2% of all realtors in San Diego.
We can see the growth.
In fact, we too next almost overnight.
I expanded so much in that location that I actually had to build another office.
We've been in business for 16 years only as filmmakers, and we've expanded every single year. And we've recently 3x'd our business.
The company started to grow really, really fast. We grow 5x every year.
This year we won the King's Award for business. That's the highest business award you can get in the UK.
I think what I love about the Wise consulting field is that it's playing a bigger game. It's the game I was meant to play. It's the game I've got unlimited expansion.
It's exhilarating, because a person has a cognition and you can see it. I mean, you literally you can almost watch it come alive.
When we found the real why, the real reason why it wasn't going well, it blew his mind completely. He almost fell off the chair. He was just like 10, 15 years younger, like that.
We have to have outboard, staff, pack policy, all we need to have a good company. And when you force the other seat, they speak on the gas below.
Where's Tom or Bill or John or Mary? Oh, they decided to look for other opportunities. Oh, great. I mean, oh dear.
We put in ethics, we gave mapping tools. Right now he has about 35 different locations in his Inc. 500. He started off with nothing.
I put 100 of their salespeople and middle executives through the how to get things done course. And after that, the company went into an ATX.
We have L. Ron Hubbard written all over our course materials. So we tell everyone, this is the man who has all the wisdom, and we're going to help you understand it and use it.
And then you hear them talking about ARC and KRC and the org board, using the terms that we know so well. And they're using them out there in the business world.
And then you see, wow, there's full Scientology tech here. And then they brought on, get onto the bridge.
And then he called me and says, I'm here. I'm like, I know, I can't be here.
Did her OT levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, got on OT 7, finished OT 7, and now she's a new OTA.
She just finished Superpower. Her husband just got on the bridge. And her kids are on the bridge.
I've gotten hundreds of people on the bridge, which is really actually my post.
Finding those people that think as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, those are our guys. You gotta go find them. Let's go wake them up. Let's remind them who they are.
Because they impact their lives, they impact their families, they impact their societies.
And that's how we will bring about a renaissance on Earth.
Business owners are very able people, and when they connect with Color Age, it changes them and their opinion leaders, and they start changing the world.
Whereupon we come to the bridge itself, and specifically, those who hold wide the gates of our bridge, those who audit in every neighborhood, those who extend our help to distant lands and the proverbial rim of our world, those in short who audit under the auspices of Scientology Missions International and the International Hubbard Ecclesiastical League of Pastors, respectively known as SMI and IHELP. Suffice it to say, in this golden age, their roles have never been more pivotal. Because once you possess the expertise to accomplish clearing in places most can't find on a map, well, as LRH himself put it, you walk above kings. And this is what it looks like. All emanates from our organizations where Scientologists ascending the bridge set forth to start the cycle anew. They plant Scientology flags in communities near and far, and so rally beneath that resounding cry, I'm going to clear my zone. To precisely that end, missions provide Golden Age introductory services and auditing, from personal efficiency and life improvement to lower grades and new era Dianetics. Whereupon course graduates and case completions advance to orgs for academy training. And so the cycle repeats with newly trained auditors establishing new groups along ever farther horizons, until arises a self-generating movement as those groups expand into full-blown missions, and one to the next, those missions become full-fledged orgs, and in this way, we clear this planet. Our first account from this year's iHelp Chronicle transports us to a land crowned by the majestic Himalayas, where ancient wisdom and spiritual devotion remain etched into the fabric of life itself. This is also where, as it is often said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. And so it's all the more profound that we now enter a timeless and sacred realm and an original land of terra incognita, Nepal. It's the birthplace of Gautama Siddhartha and Buddhism, and has been called the holiest place on earth. But between a decade-long civil war through the turn of the century and the relentless onslaught of natural calamities, the Nepalese mindset is strained at best. Thus, according to world reports, 1 in 4 citizens suffers from mental trauma and anxiety. But this is iHelp pioneer and Nepalese scout leader Ajaya Adakari. His journey to Dianetics began during his service as a scout responding to Nepal's 2015 megaquake. After linking with our volunteer ministers, he discovers LRH technology, training on all 19 handbook courses. But it was his discovery of Dianetics that ultimately propelled him to the New Delhi mission, where he trained as a Book 1 auditor to bring his people the permanent solution to mental trauma. And this is his story at the roof of the world. As head of his own scout crew, Ajaya incorporates Dianetics into the scouting curriculum, all of it formalized under the heading of emotional development. Requirements include a multi-day Dianetics seminar and knowledge of the emotional tone scale. Ajaya begins delivery with his own Karma Open Scout crew, assembled with precision in Greater Kathmandu. Scouts aged 16 to 25 stand ready, and given their ages, many of those scouts were still children during the 2015 earthquake. Hence, the Book 1 film illuminates the source of their fears and nightmares and how to break their hold. Whereupon these young scouts proceed to do just that, pairing up as co-auditors, embarking on the greatest adventure of all, and fulfilling an ancient Buddhist proverb, "May all beings have happy minds." From there, Ajaya fans the first flames, starting with beginning junior scouts, female ranger scouts, and male rover scouts, kindling the beginnings of a Book 1 wildfire through the hearts of over 300 Nepalese youth. Building on that success, Ajaya sets his sights on expanding beyond the scouts, with the goal of bringing Dianetics to every segment of broader society. He begins with the education arena, starting at St. Lawrence College, one of Nepal's most respected institutions. The principal, a longtime friend from Ajaya's days as a volunteer minister, immediately recognizes Dianetics as exactly what his students need. Without hesitation, he greenlights the program and takes the lead, personally introducing it to his Bachelor of Arts for Social Work students. Ajaya follows with a standard 2-day Dianetics seminar for dozens of social services and psychology students, guiding them through their first real lesson in mental health. So too, their adventure begins with a personal discovery of the reactive mind and the power of Dianetics to get rid of it. Or as they put it, I now know why past pain haunts the present, and Dianetics healed me inside. Moreover, by seminar's end, the principal announces a formal Book 1 partnership for continuing delivery. Advancing farther on the educational trek, Ajaya sets out eastward through the Kathmandu Valley to Arniko School, at which point more than 80 high school students delve into Dianetic procedure guides and then eagerly into session, now giving new meaning to another Eastern proverb: victory over the mind is the greatest victory of all. Case in point, results are so striking, the vice principal requests Dianetic training for the entire teaching staff. There's more. 6 miles west, at a school regarded as the best in the province. Here, another 60 students immerse themselves in Book 1, exploring that unknown realm just half an inch back of their foreheads. Ajaya's journey next advances into the health sector, where Dianetics intersects with Nepal's 3,000-year-old tradition of natural medicine, and where practitioners suddenly realize 70% of diseases are psychosomatic. From there, Ajaya travels 100 miles west to Chitwan district. The pattern repeats as local police quickly twin up and begin co-auditing, embarking on the adventure where life will never be the same again. And as Ajaya journeys further still, Book 1 delivery surges like the Himalayan peaks, impacting more than 20 institutions and civic organizations, achieving new heights at over 10,000 co-audit hours, ultimately introducing more than 5,000 individuals to Dianetics one-on-one. Whereupon Ajaya at last fulfills the goal he's been striving for beneath the shadow of the oldest Buddhist shrine in the Kathmandu Valley, where now stands the Dianetics Book 1 Center of Nepal, inaugurated by a senior member of parliament and standing as a permanent Dianetics outpost for clearing, and yes, that's IHEL, in the name of a better bridge on this New Year's celebration 2025. Beyond IHELP Field Groups lies Scientology Missions International. They represent the first levels of training, including Hubbard Apprentice and Hubbard Qualified Scientologist, and therefore comprise a primary gateway onto and up the bridge. That they further provide all campaigns requisite for removing bridge flow impediments means missions can interface with any city on Earth, from the most well-known capitals to places that remain hidden gems of the world, places like the Eastern European country of Moldova. Nestled between Ukraine and Romania and long the cradle of European vineyards, she is a land of hidden gems and medieval fortresses. Yet today, her distinct cultural heritage is under threat, as 21st century social decay eats away at new generations. But this is the mission of Chisinau, located in Moldova's capital city and helmed by mission holder Igor Korjakaru. Igor first encountered Scientology at university when his professor handed him an OCA test, and thereafter he determined to plant a mission flag with fellow pioneers. Today, his mission stands in the city center, just blocks from the presidential palace. It welcomes a considerable cross-section from software developers and musicians to advertisers and winemakers. And one to the next, through the full array of introductory routes, the mission introduces another Moldovan to Scientology every 4 hours. Whereafter, with auditing through the lower grades, Moldova generated more than 1,300 well-done auditing hours this year and over 100 mission service completions. But what truly defines this mission's presence is its inroads into society, laying the groundwork for clearing. Hence their Chisinau Activation Crusade, tackling the country's greatest ruins: criminality, failing education, and substance abuse. All kicks off with A Way to Happiness. Chisinau faces its share of crime, from scams to petty theft, hence mission teams take to key locations across the city, working the crossroads of Moldova's oldest park and reaching the city's most popular family destination. Teams also target Moldova's largest exhibition and event center. It's a cornerstone of commerce and trade in a business sector plagued by corruption scandals, and where The Way to Happiness now offers a moral compass. While for every other community gathering, from festivals to holidays, precepts align with local traditions. So, in the spirit of Christmas, mission teams present booklets to families and festival attendees from across the country, with booklets flowing hand to hand by the minute, and all of which ultimately brings The Way to Happiness to nearly 30,000 Moldovans. But where the campaign rises to a national scale is within the prison system, because with recidivism rates topping 50%, the commissioner requests The Way to Happiness for every prison nationwide. Then there's applied scholastics. More than half of Moldovan students struggle academically, so the mission opens an applied scholastic center located just steps from the mission. The center delivers study tech to students ages 8 to 18, serving as many as 40 learners per day. But where applied scholastics extends study tech far beyond classroom walls is on national airwaves through 10 television broadcasts reaching more than 150,000 viewers per show. There's more again with Drug-Free World. Moldova serves as a trafficking hub between Central Asia and European markets, fueling a youth crisis that spirals deeper with every passing year. Thus, teams saturate Chisinau's main thoroughfare and Cathedral Park. But where the campaign rises to national prominence is through a police partnership for drug education, and the lecture circuit unfolds like this. In the city of Cantemir, at a public secondary school for grades 1 through 9, the mission's Drug-Free World team leads a lecture to 70 students along with faculty and officers. In the city of Soroka, where they reach 150 art school students. In the city of Hinchesti, where another 90 vocational students attend. And so it spreads like Moldova's vineyards across 180 miles of educational landscape, with mission and police partnerships bringing truth about drugs to more than 600 schools, thereby reaching over 140,000 students, at which point it dominates national airwaves as youth drug-related crime drops an astonishing 69%. But even beyond all that, Igor sets out to establish Dianetics and Scientology, the subjects themselves, as a cornerstone of Moldova's culture. And what better way than by placing the basics books into her libraries, the institutions at the heart of her heritage. He begins with Chisinau's Municipal Library, not only presenting the director and staff with each book, but also walking them through the materials guide chart. From there, it's another presentation at a local Chisinau branch library, and so it continues across Moldova, with the mission placing the basic books in more than 1,100 libraries, reaching virtually every community nationwide. Combine it all, and that's the story of the Chisinau mission, now standing as a beacon of Scientology, reaching more than 500,000 Moldovans and nearly 20% of the population. And yes, that's SMI in the name of a cultural resurgence for a nation on this New Year's celebration 2025. Beyond all that comes what is unquestionably the new face of Scientology Missions International. It's a parallel strategy wherein missions emulate ideal orgs, but of course dedicated to the entrance gates. Yet even that description can't quite capture the magnificence embodied in our new millennium ideal missions. And in evidence, I present the new gates that opened in the last 12 months. The first stands in Italy's Alpine foothills at Bergamo. She was the first in Europe to transition to ideal, after which she swelled expansion 4 times over, capturing the one and only Grand Champion Birthday Game trophy awarded in 2023. But this is an example of ideal generating even greater expansion, with her execs blueprinting plans for an entirely new delivery wing and thereby doubling previous capabilities. All then crescendos on the 10th of November, where an interfaith leader takes the podium and applauds the church for its community spirit. After which, a ribbon cascades down and headlines announce, "This is the place where people begin their journey of spiritual liberation." Next is this year's rollout of brand new ideal missions, beginning in Quito, Ecuador. They're the birthday game champion for 2024. Moreover, they're also the first ideal mission in South America, cutting a ribbon just this past February. Whereafter, from computer technicians to musicians, they doubled the number of Ecuadorians stepping onto and up the bridge, and all since spreading their ideal wings. Now, head 4,000 miles north to McMinnville, Oregon, where autumn in the Pacific Northwest sets the stage for breaking new ground in any town USA, with a grand opening on the 10th of November, thereby planting yet another Scientology mission flag. All begins with an invitation from the Chamber of Commerce to find happiness inside their doors, and so a ribbon streams down on the first ideal mission in Oregon's storied Scientology history, immediately welcoming working professionals and local families, rapidly transforming the mission into a community meeting ground, and distinguished by a recognition from Yamhill County. Same day, November 10th, but 6,000 miles west, we arrive in Taiwan's cultural crossroads at Chiayi. Here stands another mission poised to go straight up and vertical, with city dignitaries cutting the ribbon, and propelled by their transformation to ideal, they not only doubled new people introduced to Scientology, they also just celebrated their first clear since grand opening. The very next week, we bullet trained 60 miles north to Taichung, where Taiwan's first ever mission now stands reborn as ideal. Their November 16th grand opening unfolded with full ceremonial splendor as local press hailed the church for community service and spiritual improvement. From there, the mission ignited a surge of expansion, fueling delivery across virtually every service and closing the year with double the Great Chart completions, and now celebrating 5 ideal missions across the island nation. Same day, November 16th, but halfway across the planet, we arrived in Santo André in Metro Sao Paulo. Here stands Brazil's first ideal mission, and hence appropriately opening with a civil guard salute to the church for bringing an entirely new level of help to the city. Whereupon a ribbon falls amid a burst of confetti, and the mission multiplies services onto and up the bridge, all while tripling delivery. Finally, just 2 weeks later, we head to Osaka, where her brand new mission is also Japan's first ideal mission. Inaugurated on November 30th, the event featured a commendation from a member of the National Parliament, praising the church for giving dreams and hope to so many. And as the ribbon fell, those dreams came to life as Scientology services get underway, all with recognition for creating a better future. So yes, That's 6 new ideal missions lighting up the map of the world, highest in any single year, and when you count every other flag in our international array of new millennium ideal missions, that's also how more than 100,000 people discovered Dianetics and Scientology through the last calendar year, and yes, that's the power of ideal missions as we enter 2025. Once again, there yet remains a final vantage point on our far-flung groups and missions. In this case, it follows from an LRH word on the nature of Scientology and those who apply it. In particular, that given the breadth of its understanding and the kindness of its people, a new world can be born for anyone. And so, I give you those who bear new worlds for others.
Genuinely for me is when I found Scientology, I could not believe it was real. I couldn't. I was like, how does this exist? Every day I am reminded I work with magic. I work with something equivalent to magic.
As a field auditor, you are the first contact point to the world because you meet your PCs everywhere, in the train, in the plane, in the tea room, and then you deliver to them. Then you bring it to the org as Scientologists.
To bring LRH to uncharted territories means you're gonna have a big game, and the bigger barrier you overcome, the bigger feeling of freedom is going to come.
I was just recently auditing a guy who had a pretty serious sports injury, and I remember one time he was coming to session, he was literally jogging, sprinting even to session, like he had never ever had such an injury. He became like the phoenix from the flame. It was just incredible.
Like giving the wings to the person, like, okay, he can fly now. And before he couldn't, he would just stick to the floor, couldn't move.
So we are the gatekeepers on the field, and we just get masses through the gate.
And the job of a mission is to be a foothold for Scientology. We are the pioneers. We are adventurers and saying, hey, Scientology is here. It can help you.
I am giving outreach tech to every single person that ever walks into the mission, from the moment that they start doing some life improvement courses to when they're on their basics.
They heard there is some course named Personal Values and Integrity. It's like, I didn't know that actually all the troubles that I have in my life is because I'm causing that.
He was very hungry, he had some big problems. After 2 hours, he go out with love. And he said that because I have the problems, I go without.
I remember him coming into the mission, and he used to wear sunglasses in the mission. And he did this successful communication course, and he stopped wearing the sunglasses, and he started to talk.
One guy who came to me and he still like hold his wrist, and he was like, okay, I feel pain. I cannot do even like the push-up. And we went into Dianetic session. He went out and like the pain is gone. And he jumped onto the floor and started to do the push-ups.
1 month later, she went to the medical doctor and she had no tumor. It was a miracle. She says to everyone that the Dianetics saved her life.
And he brings into the mission the mother brings the daughter, and like the whole family is now doing Scientology just because of 5 hours of group 1 holiday.
And we have all this amazing Golden Age of Tech 2 material. There's so much that a person can get and have their life literally just put on tap.
One guy started to feel better and better, and in fact after the purification rundown, he just said like,
oh my god, my allergy and asthma is gone. Before, when he passed by us, he's like quiet and nobody noticed him. Even we don't notice him. And when he completed SRD, wow, we can feel his existence now.
He then went from being depressed and not even looking at me to singing his way through the mission every single day. And he is one of the happiest people I've ever seen.
There's a spark, and then you get to fan it, and fan it with more LRH, and you see that fire in their eyes to go, I want to go clear.
To see them as a clear, that is like my reward. And it's a very special moment because I'm sitting right there, we look at each other, and we both just acknowledge what happened. I get chills every single time.
You just want to throw your hands up in the air and just say, yes, yes.
To get people on the bridge and to Kenya, we're doing this every day around the world.
I have made 28 clears.
I made 24 clears.
78 clears.
And then just start turning one right after the other. And then that person then turns around and clears another person.
We are clearing Taipei,
Prague,
Los Angeles,
Alaska,
We are clearing Chicken.
Slovakia,
I am clearing Italy.
Switzerland, Germany.
England.
Yeah, we're clearing Africa.
Our mission is doing that in India.
Mexico,
Ecuador, Canada,
Japan, Nepal.
we're going to clear Spain. We all stand shoulder to shoulder, help humanity, so we can all make it.
We are definitely in a game that everybody is going to win.
You have a team of people who share the same purpose, and we're creating this network across the whole world, clearing our areas, and we are clearing the planet.
Spiraling upwards from organizational patterns of field groups and missions, we come to the next chapter of this evening's event. We also come to the moment we spiral on back to where this night began, and specifically with our global fleet of ideal orgs mirroring tech and policy from which they were forged. Meaning, take all you've seen tonight, everything we're working to create in the name of a better tomorrow, all of it is in the pursuit of a singular purpose, to move every being onto and up the bridge all the way to the top. And stemming from that singular purpose is the substance of our foremost strategic programs, to make available the totality of LRH materials and technology, and to establish the facilities necessary to deliver that technology in full. And thus now stand ideal orgs to indeed extend the recovery and delivery of LRH materials brought forth in this golden age. A golden age of introductory routes, a golden age of knowledge, a golden age of tech phase 2. But if all those golden ages are embodied in every ideal org to date, let's now add another component from 2024 that redefines the future. A golden age of administration. And yes, this is the one that embraces all other golden ages, and in fact, brings those other golden ages to full fruition. Moreover, with that final component in place, we have now entered an entirely new era, the era of all golden age orgs, meaning orgs held by FEBC executives trained and processed in our golden age of administration. So, if you already glimpsed the liftoff of the first such orgs at the outset of tonight's event, that was just the beginning, because now let me take you on a whirlwind tour of all that ensued in the wake of their rollout planet-wide. Denmark. Her Golden Age FEBC team is led by a pair of new OTAs. They helm our ideal org on Europe's busiest walking street, situated at the heart of the city's historic central square. and from where they ignited a book one boom, placing 8 times the number of books in the public hands, and in turn introducing 8 times the number of public onto the bridge. London, British FEBC royalty reigns supreme at the crossroads of the English-speaking world in our ideal org on Queen Victoria Street. They're driving a surge of expansion up both sides of the grade chart, achieving 6-fold delivery across the realm. And with a thriving life improvement center on the historic Central Artery in the heart of London, they've welcomed 15 times the number of His Majesty's subjects onto introductory services. Edinburgh, from Scotland's bonny land of the brave, comes an FEBC clan driving toward their ideal org future. They're all about building their field on a whole new scale, introducing 10 times the number of Scots to Scientology and laying the foundation for that glorious ideal future. Melbourne, from the land down under, comes an FEBC team 18 strong, leading the first ideal org beneath Australia's Southern Cross. They've introduced 10 times the number of new public to Scientology while playing their delivery game by Aussie rules with an 8-fold expansion in delivery org-wide. Tampa, her 18-man FEBC team stands at the helm of our ideal org in historic Ybor City, home to the largest flag-trained technical team among new Golden Age orgs. They lit up a Tampa-trained campaign, achieving 7 times the student completions and 5 times the number of new releases and clears. Orlando, in the midst of Disney World and Sea World, this FEBC team guides an ideal world. They've already welcomed 8,000 new faces to the org, 5 times more than any year in their history, all while serving as a home to the entire city, orchestrating a community, cultural, or civic event every 4 days. Miami, at the gateway to Latin America, Miami's FEBC team leads our ideal org on the South Dixie Highway. LRH once called her Mighty Miami, and she lives up to that name by welcoming 6 times the number of new public onto the bridge, igniting a 5-fold expansion of all org delivery. San Francisco, she now boasts a world-class FEBC team for a world-class ideal org. They've ignited a Bay-wide training drive greater than anything in their history, multiplying Academy co-audit hours 5 times over, which, like turning a key, unlocked an explosion of new auditors made. Chicago, this brand new ideal org is led by an FEBC team as steadfast as the city of big shoulders itself. Here, it's all about advancing public up the bridge at a rate that outpaces anything in known history. Backed by a 24-man technical team, they're shattering all records, multiplying well-done auditing hours 8 times over and achieving a 6-fold expansion in org-wide delivery. Austin, their FEBC team is riding high in the saddle, spearheading another brand new ideal org. With expansion as big as Texas itself, they've now introduced 12 times the number of new people to Scientology, all while delivery leaves every past record in the dust, not only 5 times the students in the academy, but wrangling 5 times the number of total grade chart completions. Mexico City, Latin America's first FEBC team commands the newly opened Del Valle Ideal Org. It's another all Golden Age Ideal Org rewriting the playbook on expansion, spanning the entire grade chart with explosive momentum, from highest ever life improvement courses to highest ever pure of delivery and total org delivery, surpassing the combined total of the last 5 years. Finally, there's Paris. The city of light blazes brighter than ever, with our largest FEBC executive team leading the charge at our newest all Golden Age Ideal Org, an architectural masterpiece in the cultural heart of Earth. Since opening, they've introduced more than 30 times the number of new people to Scientology. Then again, at its core stands their 47-man technical team, generating 10 times the number of clears, all while hosting a community event every second day. And so Paris rises as a masterpiece of expansion, celebrating an extraordinary 25-fold advance. And when you combine those kinds of wonders across our kingdom of all new FEBC idealorgs, it's nothing short of an affluence phenomenon. New org staff, public book sales, public into Scientology, public course completions, public on service, student points, auditing hours, field staff members, org viability, on and on. In fact, every major org statistic, more than 30 in all, now straight up and vertical. And yes, that's your new golden age of administration for this New Year's 2025. And that brings us to the last crucial component of every ideal org, and what traditionally caps every New Year's celebration, namely our annual salute to a worldwide league of power FSMs. One to the next, they comprise a crucial link in the chain that keeps the flow progressing ever upward to planetary clearing. If only to restate the essentials. A field staff member embodies everything you just witnessed tonight. So, whether public Scientologists, I help auditors in groups, SMI mission staff, or WISE members, all fulfill a common purpose as field staff members. Indeed, it's the one purpose LRH bestowed on every Scientologist: to help LRH contact, handle, salvage, and bring to understanding the individual and thus the peoples of Earth. So, precisely in line with those words, we come to this year's presentation. Each will receive that treasured Power FSM pin for escorting at least 100 people onto and up the bridge through a single calendar year. Moreover, this year is capped by FSMs who represent another milestone altogether, as we honor not just 2 or 3, nor 4 or 5, not even 6 or 7, but an unprecedented 9 Scientologists who have ascended to the ranks of elite FSM, which in turn is to say, in a single calendar year, they each helped 1,000 onto and up the bridge. So, to a record-breaking 230 FSMs who personally ushered Scientologists one-on-one to a staggering 162,646 steps up the bridge, I ask you to join me in a thunderous ovation as they take the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, your invincible power and elite FSMs. And with that, let's put the final exclamation point on this year and launch into 2025, as in our traditional welcome to the world out there. Or if you prefer, our next statement in the name of bringing the peoples of Earth to a new understanding. To be sure, this has already been a watershed year of dissemination. If you attended our IES Ruby anniversary, you'll recall I described the challenge in communicating what Scientology is. The biggest challenge isn't just conveying its scope, it's also showing its many dimensions. In fact, just think about what you have seen tonight. A religion, a technology, a worldwide network of churches and centers, a global humanitarian movement, and a diverse community of people spanning 6 continents. You don't fit all of that into a 60-second ad. So the answer wasn't just one ad, but a series of 3, each complementing and building upon the other. A triptych, if you will, meaning a work of art divided into 3 sections. And as of tonight, that triptych is hitting airwaves across the globe, reaching a larger audience than ever before in our history. More than that, we are sharing a whole new perspective with this world, showing 3 unique aspects of Scientology: our voice, our church, and our movement. But believe it or not, that was just an opening salvo. Because next we tackle the largest audience in history, Super Bowl 59, set to be the most watched broadcast in American television, over 100 million people in the US. And unlike almost any other broadcast, people don't just watch the Super Bowl, they watch for the ads. What's more, now it's a fact. Not only do they watch our ads, they can't stop talking about them. So, for Super Bowl 2025, we're sharing the ultimate perspective. Because when you're talking Scientology and what it can truly achieve in terms of freeing beings, you're not simply talking about the dawn of a new religion. You're talking about a story that spans millennia. All times, all people, all generations. And so it's no exaggeration to call it the single most universal story of all, because it's the one that everyone shares no matter their faith, culture, or age. Namely, the eternal and indomitable quest for truth. And for the biggest audience in the world, this is how we tell it.
From the first stirrings of wonder, in the first sparks of curiosity, there was a question older than humanity, deeper than any language ever conceived, more powerful than all the weapons and armies of the world. More elusive than the farthest extremes of exploration. Tantalizing, but out of reach for all generations. But what if the answer was never there at all? What if the answer to every secret of the universe was not at the edges of the earth, or at the ends of the stars, but within you, waiting to be unlocked?
Now that we have crisscrossed the globe, traversing every sector of LRH technical application, and revealing our global message for tomorrow, we've also turned the page on yesteryear, turning our gaze forward to the milestones we are set to conquer. And all of it in turn to say, we have now arrived at the momentous conclusion of this evening's New Year's event. Then again, this is the moment when we look to the future and consider the shape of tomorrow in light of this from LRH, the legacy of tech. It is the route which, if purely used, uncorrupted, and unperverted, will bring you at last to the vast free vistas of freedom and truth and the glory of being really you. There are vistas never dreamed of. There are joys never even known. There are glories no past glory ever surpassed. These wait for you, but only if you accept my legacy and help bring these things about. LRH. Now, if in earlier years you wondered how to fulfill that legacy and help bring these things about, and yes, help of the magnitude for honest-to-God planetary clearing, well, today, just look around and choose your field. It begins with our ideal orders, where we are building the very pillars of the bridge for the emanation of LRH's full legacy. Our next ideal order is the Eastern Cape in South Africa, opening before LRH's birthday. From there, Puerto Rico, just in time for the anniversary of Dying Medics. Beyond that, another 250,000 square feet of ideal facilities are under construction, with 26 more buildings, 2.1 million square feet, ready to rise this year. Meanwhile, the FEBC program continues to roar forward with teams in training from 52 orgs worldwide. Even more, rolling off the line are teams from New York, Milano, Tokyo, Washington, D.C., Stuttgart, Kaohsiung, and Twin Cities. Each will graduate this January and return to their orgs ready to lead the charge into 2025. And as for monumental achievements, in the name of Source, we'll reveal new landmark sites of discovery where you'll walk in his very footsteps of a Book One boom and through the wall of fire. But even that is but a shadow of what's next. This year at Flag, we break ground on a project destined to stand as an eternal tribute to LRH, a hall of monumental purpose and colossal scale. Looking further, 2025 will bring a parade of technical releases encompassing every type of technology, ethics, tech, and admin. And even that's an understatement. One of those releases culminates a 50-year LRH project tied to keeping Scientology working and ensuring the permanency of the technology itself. But beyond even that, we are building a better future at every level and across every sector. Even more new continental Narcanons, entirely new continental applied scholastic centers, and a new golden age of applied scholastics materials. So yes, we stand on the verge of make-break progress in every avenue of human salvage, creating places akin to mythological kingdoms, places utterly exclusive to Scientology. That's why, by all means, step into 2025 with the authority befitting a Scientologist. And by all means, take your place as Scientologists. By which I mean, you've just seen the sectors along which we advance across the no man's land of this planet. Needless to say, what drives that advance are people like yourselves. In point of fact, your numbers in this hall far exceed the numbers of those who created all that just appeared on those screens this evening. Which is only to say, if you're not on board, then get on board. And not only for the sake of those who need your help, but also for what help represents all unto itself. But the fact is, utilizing LRH technology on behalf of another is an upper echelon activity. It's the essence of Scientology. It makes for deeds that are very close to the eighth dynamic. And when that tech begins to spread and replicate, it takes on a life of its own and makes for a kind of genesis. So here's my final message for the new year at hand. At your disposal are technologies to both halt and reverse the dwindling spiral. In particular, these are technologies designed to engender drug-free, crime-free, literate, moral, and prosperous communities. These are also the technologies by which we incrementally uplift people until they can finally see the bridge. Whereupon those at the gates of our bridge step forth to escort them across the threshold and into Scientology complete. But regardless of your place in the scheme of things and your role in the process, the moment you wield LRH technology, applying it exactly as he intended, you actually become that technology. You embody its greatness, its compassion, and the power that only comes from unadulterated goodness. So take his legacy, learn it well, and then use it indiscriminately. That means taking your next step up the bridge and all succeeding steps thereafter. It also means taking your rightful place in our crusade and your fair share of responsibility for the 8 billion souls out there. For only then will you be able to look back on this era and casually remark, I was on the field when we finally cleared that third planet from the sun and flipped a calendar page on eternity to LRH.